All right, let's jump right in. We've all been there, right? You're staring down a tough decision, you don't have all the facts, and it's just noisy. So how do you cut through all that? Well, today we're going to talk about two incredibly powerful mental tools. People call them razors, that are designed to help you do exactly that. They'll help you make much sharper, much more effective decisions. Let's do this.
So, picture this. You're the leader. A big product launch hits a snag. A tiny detail got fumbled, and now the whole thing is stalled. The big question lands on your desk. Do you think it's sabotage or just an oversight? I mean, what a question, right? Is your team incompetent or is something more sinister going on? This is such a classic leadership problem. You're trying to figure out what's really happening without all the facts. And honestly, the story you decide to believe in that moment, well, that changes everything that comes next.
Okay, so to tackle a problem like that, you can't just guess. You need the right tools, right? You need mental shortcuts that can just slice right through all that confusion. So let's meet two of the absolute best razors for the job.
Okay, so here they are. First up, you've probably heard of this one, Occam's razor. It's an oldie but a goodie from philosophy. It basically says when you've got a bunch of possible explanations, the simplest one, the one with the fewest what-ifs, is usually the right one. It's the ultimate keep it simple rule. And then we've got its cousin, Hanlon's razor. This one's all about people. It says, hey, hold on a second. Don't jump to thinking someone's out to get you when it's way more likely they just made a mistake, got distracted, or messed up. So you've got one razor for simplicity and another for assuming good faith. Pretty different, right? So, knowing what these two razors are is great. But how do you actually pick the right one when you're under pressure? I mean, you can't just apply them randomly. We need a way to sharpen these tools, a system for using them strategically. And that's exactly what this is. We're going to call it the Razor Edge Framework. It's a super simple three-part model that helps you figure out which razor to pull out of your toolkit for any given situation. The goal here is to help you respond with real wisdom, not just a gut reaction. It really just boils down to these three steps. First, you're going to diagnose the complexity. Second, you map the stakes, basically how bad is it if you get this wrong. And third, you check your biases, because we all have them. Let's walk through each one. Okay, step one, diagnose complexity. You gotta ask yourself, is this a brand new problem or is this the same old thing happening again? How many moving parts are we really talking about? So think about this. A marketing team keeps using the wrong messaging. The CMO immediately thinks sabotage, someone's doing this on purpose. But they do a quick audit and guess what? The real culprit was a single outdated brand guide buried on the server. That's it. A super simple, low complexity problem. The simplest explanation was the right one. Occam's razor for the win. All right, step two, map the stakes. This one's huge. You have to ask, what's the cost of being wrong here? So let's say a project manager keeps bypassing protocol. You could just fire them, right? That's a super high stakes move. But before jumping to this person is malicious, the head of product decided to dig in a little. And it turns out it was a systems problem. Time zone mix-ups, confusing instructions on who to talk to. The PM's intent was totally fine. The system was setting them up to fail. Because the stakes were so high, Hanlon's razor was the right call. It saved a person's job and, even better, it fixed a broken process. And finally, step three, you gotta check your own biases. This is where it gets tricky. If you lean on Occam's razor too much, always looking for the simple answer, you might completely miss a situation that is actually complex or even malicious. But if you overuse Hanlon's razor, always giving people the benefit of the doubt, you risk letting bad performance slide or worse. I heard this story about a founder who was so tired of corporate politics, she just assumed the best in everyone. But while she was busy being charitable, a senior leader was actively undermining her. Her bias towards Hanlon's razor created this massive blind spot that almost cost her the company. Okay, so we've got a framework. It seems pretty straightforward, right? Use Occam's for simple stuff, Hanlon's for people problems. But what if it's not that easy? What if our obsession with simple is actually a dangerous trap? What if the whole foundation of this idea is a little shaky? I mean, isn't that what we're always told? The simplest explanation is always the best one. Shave everything down to its core. But what if that's not just wrong, but dangerously wrong? And this is where things get really interesting. Listen to this from physicist Jim Al-Khalili. He says, Occam's razor sounds logical and definitive, which is exactly what makes it dangerous. Wow, he's basically arguing that if we just blindly follow this simpler is better rule, we can end up with some massive misunderstandings, not just at work,
but in the entire history of science.
So let's talk about the poster child for Occam's razor, Copernicus. You know the story, right? The old model, with the Earth at the center of the universe, was this ridiculously complicated mess. And then along comes Copernicus, who puts the sun in the middle, and boom! Everything is clean, simple, and elegant. A total win for simplicity, case closed.
Except that story isn't actually true. Here's the reality check. Copernicus got one big thing right, the sun in the middle. But he got another big thing wrong. He still thought the planets moved in perfect circles. And they don't. So to make his math work, his supposedly simple model was still cluttered with all these complex fixes and patches, just like the old one. The real truth, that planets move in ellipses, is actually way more complex than either of their models. It's such a perfect example of how the simplest explanation is not always the right one.
So if the goal isn't just simplicity, what is it? Well, it's usefulness. A better idea isn't the one that's easiest to tweet, it's the one that actually helps you make better predictions about the real world. Sometimes that's a simple idea, for sure, but a lot of the time, especially when you're dealing with complex things like people or markets, it's not. The world is messy, our thinking needs to be able to handle that mess.
And that brings us right back to our teams and our daily decisions, because when we misuse these razors, it has real consequences. Just look at these common pitfalls. We use them to dodge tough conversations, right? Oh, it was just a simple mistake, when really we need to give some direct feedback. Or we apply them totally inconsistently, the senior exec gets the benefit of the doubt, that's Hanlon's razor, but the junior person gets blamed for a simple error, that's Occam's. And maybe worst of all, we lock onto our first explanation and refuse to change it, even when a single error starts to look like a real pattern of negligence.
Okay, so after all of that, the theory, the history, the warnings, what do we actually do with this? How do we go from just thinking about this stuff to actually using it to make better moves? Let's just take a step back and remember why this is so critical. Get this. One study found that the average manager makes something like 3,000 decisions every single day. Think about that. Most of them are under pressure, without all the info. When you're in that kind of environment, mental shortcuts aren't a nice to have, they are a necessity. This kind of disciplined thinking isn't a luxury, it's a core survival skill for any leader.
And listen, the payoff when you get this right is absolutely massive. You start responding to problems with the right amount of energy. No more overreactions or underreactions. You build a team culture that has both psychological safety and real accountability, which is the holy grail. You stop burning time and trust by diagnosing problems wrong. And you create crystal clarity in those high-stakes moments. I'm telling you, disciplined thinking beats office drama every single time.
So here's your move, your homework for this week. I want you to pick one problem you're dealing with right now. It could be a missed deadline, a conflict on the team, whatever. And just put the two razors next to each other. Ask, what's the Occam explanation here? What's the Hanlon explanation? Look at the problem through both of those lenses. And then you make your move. Because remember, the goal isn't to find the easiest answer. It's to find the most useful one, the one that leads you to action, not just another lazy assumption.